Hello, my name's Lucy Cox. I'm an artist and a librarian, and today I'm at Edge to Edge at the Cello Factory in London, and I'm interviewing the show's co-curator, Rob Dunt. So he has 3 artworks in this exhibition, and I'm interviewing him about this particular piece. So what's the title of this piece?
So this one is called Chaos Nicht. So it's a little reference to, for me, it's got quite a lot of like Ben Nicholson kind of modernist language in the background. So it's a little reference to that Ben Nicholson thing, but then obviously you've got the chaos of the black and white distortion forms. So for people who don't know, these are what I call my distortion forms. A lot of the paintings are based on the band, the Jesus and Mary Chain, who made pretty kind of songs but covered it with chaos, noise and distortion. And the black and white shapes are like a visual metaphor for that noise and distortion. So that's the basic premise to quite a few of my paintings, which is really prettiness and chaos mixed together to sort of make more prettiness. And this one has the sort of Ben Nicholson language in the background, which is where that title comes from.
And what's the relationship between the Ben Nicholson language and Jesus and Mary Chain?
So you've got, I love that, because I love the sort of, say Ben Nicholson's like kind of a nice sort of traditional modernist, what I would say kind of quite almost reassuring kind of art. I find it quite reassuring and sort of, you know, it's not unnerving. But then the Jesus and Mary Chain is more like a contemporary take on the Beach Boys, which is again kind of, so the Beach Boys is quite a nice, simple, playful, gentle kind of music, uplifting in a straightforward fashion. But then the Jesus and Mary Chain puts that noise and feedback onto it, and it creates something slightly more psychedelic and dangerous. It's almost like recreating the Beach Boys for a 20th century experience. And so in a way, that for me is the same thing. So I'm taking like Ben Nicholson, something that I find friendly, and yeah, in a way, you'd love to paint a Ben Nicholson today, but you can't really, because it'd just be totally pointless. And it wouldn't be very exciting to look at. So in a way, I'm sort of attacking it with this chaos and mess to sort of, you know, make it today, make it more relevant to us.
And how do you extract the noise from the music? How does that work?
I suppose for me the noise is that sort of. So in a way, if you listen to the Jesus and Mary Chain, it's just like a lot of people think it sounds like that. They think it sounds, but it isn't actually. You can actually hear the bass, and you can hear like 3-chord pop songs in the background. So in a way, I have, as you say, I suppose in a strange way, I've extracted the noise as almost like a layer, either a layer of music or a layer of paint, and extracted those black and white shapes, which I feel kind of interrupt your journey around as you go along. So like they're over the lines in the back, they're sort of interrupting what takes place.
So all of these abstract shapes and these lines and then the blobs, as you call them, are essentially extracts from the sound. So it's what you visualize in your mind, when you're listening to the music.
Yeah, it is in a way. I think. I mean, it's. I suppose it's quite interesting to go back and forth between the visual language and the sound language in a way. Because in a way you've got the Ben Nicholson background, then on top of that there's more like a cubist structure, breaking the picture plane. So there's more of a visual attack to it, first of all.
Yeah.
And then the black and white shapes are more of a sound attack. But I suppose over time, the black and white shapes have had a different extra functions. So as well as creating the chaos, they are a way of like leading the viewer through the painting in different journeys. So they sort of swirl around here and they move up and they come off here or they drip down. So they then almost become a bit like rain on a window pane.
Yeah.
On top of what's there.
I mean, to me, they look a bit like maps.
Oh, maps.
You know, almost like an urban map or something. Yeah.
So I think we were chatting about, like you were saying, an urban environment is what it brings up to you. And I was quite intrigued because I'm always like a fan of Patrick Heron, who painted those beautiful, pretty, wobbly, hard-edged paintings. He was said obviously he was inspired by the Cornish landscape where he lived, and the sea smashing on the rocks below his house. And it's interesting, you can't really paint those kind of pictures living in the urban environment. So living in London, you do, I think, are inspired to paint something different, something that's noisier, more chaotic. You've got cars and buses and trains and things hassling you the whole time, haven't you?
That's right.
You're not there just sitting on a hillside with the sound of the sea.
No.
It's like police cars and stuff.
So would you regard these as urban paintings then?
I think they are,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd actually rather paint something that wasn't urban, but I think it's what comes out of where you live in a way.
Yeah, oh, I think so. Yeah, definitely. And how do your paintings relate to the title of the exhibition? Edge to Edge?
Oh, Edge to Edge. Well, I love those hard edge things. So obviously I've got the hard edge stuff in here, but it's not like a Bridget Riley. It's not just a... So if you look at this other picture over here, actually, this one, I tried to put almost like a kind of Bridget Riley hard-edged stripes in the background. But then I covered it with a kind of cubist kind of forms. So I mean, I love that hard-edged stuff. I think it's so beautiful. But again, it's just what would be the point of recreating like a Bridget Riley? I mean,
no.
You could do it, but I mean, it wouldn't be very interesting. And, you know, everybody would just say, "Oh, you made like a Bridget Riley." So it's almost like you've got to throw your own interpretation.
Yeah. And you interviewed Biggs and Collins last year, didn't you? And that kind of like has come through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I'd used to paint these things meticulously for hours on end to get these hard edges, and I just got so fed up with doing it because it would take weeks to get something like that done. But I was interviewing, Matthew Collins and his wife, and I noticed that they used masking tape for all their pictures. And it just really inspired me to get back into doing more hard edge, use the masking tape. I use quite a lot of dryer and the oil paint. And it just means you can put down at least one of those layers one day. And then it's really fun. You come back in the morning, peel it off, see what the edges are like, see what's happened. And you're instantly quite inspired to think, what can I do next?
And have you always painted in this way, or have you started off kind of figurative and then move into more abstraction?
I did do figurative kind of stuff. And actually, after doing the Art Top 10 lockdown interviews, I spoke to loads of people who'd been kicked out of their studios in lockdown, and they were all doing watercolours actually. So I did quite a lot of figurative watercolours over lockdown as well, which was fun.
Yeah.
And I quite like watercolour. It's got quite a chaos element to it as well, actually. But no, I haven't always painted like this. I think I first came up with this kind of thing when I was at City and Guilds in London Art School, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And then I did all sorts of other kind of paintings.
Yeah.
All sorts of different things. Some figurative, some more like crazy sort of pictures of the Madonna with a bit more like Andy Warhol or something. But then I always keep coming back to this. These kind of distortion forms, it seems to be a kind of language that I can't really get away from. It seems to be sort of in the DNA of what I produce.
Well, thank you very much, Rob.
Listen,
Thank you.
You're
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
By somebody else.
That's okay.
Bumbuckler.